So hi guys, welcome back to another video, and as you've seen by the thumbnail and the intro, I'm going to be comparing Mo Salah, Bruno Fernandes and Kevin De Bruyne. And I'm going to tell you, well, give you advice on which one is the best option for you for the opening 5 game weeks of the season. So we're going to run through their ownership, how many players they're owned by at this moment in time, which is mid-July. Obviously it could change by August, but how many players they're owned by mid-July. Their first opening 5 fixtures, because that's very, very key. Their form, how have they been performing recently, previous to the tournament starting, pre-season? I know it hasn't really started yet, but the Euros, the back end of the Premier League season, we'll have a look at that. And then we'll also look at the form of their teams. So how do we think the team is going to go into the season? How are they going to start? Are they going to start well? Are they going to start slow? What players have they got around them? And obviously, it does depend. There is a big factor that it does depend on. Is like, think about it like this: Man City have a lot more probably valuable assets to your team than say Man United. So bringing De Bruyne in would take out one of that spot. So you wouldn't be able to have maybe Sterling or Diaz or Stones, Cancelo, Gundogan. You might only be able to have 2 of those. When with Man United, maybe Cavani and Rashford, maybe Greenwood, they're the only real 3 players you probably want in your team, maybe Luke Shaw, but there's not as many as Man City. If you do look through the Man City squad, Kyle Walker, Diaz, Stones, Gundogan, Ederson, Bernardo Silva, even Sterling, Mahrez, De Bruyne, there's countless. And even with Liverpool, there is a lot as well. Salah, Mane, Trent, Van Dijk, Robertson, Addison. There is a lot of players you can choose from, so it's going to be kind of hard to pick one. But yeah, and enough of the waffling. Let's get straight into the video and we'll jump into their fixtures. So first of all, we'll start off with their opening 5 fixtures. So first of all, we'll have a look through Mo Salah. So Mo Salah's opening 5 fixtures are Norwich away, Burnley at home, Chelsea at home, Leeds away, and Crystal Palace at home. And then looking at those fixtures, as you can see, there's 3 green fixtures, 1 grey and 1 red. So basically the 3 green ones on paper means they are an easier fixture for Salah to get points in. And then the red one is obviously the hard one, the one that is less likely to get points in. And then the grey ones are sort of a middle fixture, not too hard, but not too easy. And yeah, Salah could get points in, and he could not. It's not the easiest fixture, but it's not the hardest one. So yeah, that looks quite good there for Mo Salah, especially the opening 2 being Burnley and Norwich. And yeah, that could link into another bit of the video that we're going to talk about in a minute to do with ownership and stuff. But yeah, that's his opening 5 fixtures. And now let's move on to Bruno Fernandes. So as you can see, Bruno Fernandes' opening fixtures are Leeds at home. Big clash there on the opening day of the season. Southampton away, Wolves away, Newcastle at home, and West Ham United away. So as you can see there, in their opening 5 fixtures, they got 2 green fixtures, 2 grey ones and 1 red. So they haven't got as many green fixtures as Liverpool have, but then at the same time they've got more grey fixtures, but then they've got the same amount of red ones. So it kind of, it's pretty even, but I think Liverpool's fixtures do look better for them for the opening few game weeks of the season. And yeah, Leeds is going to be a big game for both teams. Obviously there's a rivalry between those sides. So yeah, that's probably linked into another bit of the video we're going to jump into. I've been waffling about linking into another bit, but we'll jump into it in a minute after we've done De Bruyne and stuff. But those opening 5 fixtures, they are reasonable. Leeds, Southampton, Wolves and Newcastle, Man United could get at, and Bruno Fernandes could get a lot of points. And also, he is on penalties and so is Mo Salah. So that is very, very good there. Obviously, they can miss a penalty, but surely they're bound to get a penalty in the season and you would expect them to put it away. And then obviously on game week 5, they got West Ham. And West Ham is a red fixture because they were very good last season. But the thing is with West Ham, are they going to replicate that form? Or was that a fluke season and are they going to finish in around 10th next season? I reckon they can. I don't know whether they'll get top 4, but I reckon they can get top 7. Sorry guys, my camera cut out there. But what I was saying is, bar Liverpool, Leicester, Chelsea, City and United, I don't think there are any better teams in the league than West Ham. So they could easily get top 7 and they could get a Europa League spot. And now we move on to Kevin De Bruyne's opening 5 fixtures. So De Bruyne's opening 5 fixtures are Spurs away, Norwich at home, Arsenal at home, Leicester away and Southampton at home. So yeah, when I say De Bruyne's, I mean Man City's. But the same as Man United, they've got 2 grey, 2 green and 1 red. When Liverpool, they have the better fixtures on paper for the opening 5 with 3 green, 1 grey and 1 red. So yeah, I say Liverpool probably wins that one. And Mo Salah looks like the better pick based on fixtures. And also Man City's fixtures don't look the easiest set of fixtures. But obviously you can't just judge it off fixtures and the opening 5 game weeks. You've got to look in the long run a little bit more. But obviously, people choose their team for the first few game weeks, and then all of a sudden people want to use their wild cards because players they think were going to hit form didn't. Players are not starting that they thought they were going to start, or vice versa, etc, etc. But yeah, I think Liverpool and Salah probably win the opening 5 fixtures battle. So now we're going to look at the players and their ownership. How many players are they owned by? When I mean players of the FPL game. So, to be honest, you don't really need to look too much into this because you kind of want to go with a player who has the better fixtures and the better form over how many players are owned by. But it can benefit you because if you have a player who's lower owned and he bags a lot of points, you could see a big green arrow in your mini league rankings or global rankings. So first of all, we'll look at Kevin De Bruyne. So De Bruyne is owned by 15.8% of the game. So I think it's kind of a better option than Bruno Fernandes in the opening few game weeks because their fixtures are very similar, and in my opinion, Man City are a better team. And also, Kevin De Bruyne is lower owned. And whilst Bruno Fernandes, he is owned by 40%. So Kevin De Bruyne is owned by 25% less of the players. So yeah, 15% compared to 40. It is a big difference. And also with Bruno Fernandes, he is 12 mil and Kevin De Bruyne is 12 mil as well. So they're both the same price. They're both in midfield. Probably De Bruyne is in the better team. Fixtures, very even. But ownership is a lot less. So it looks like De Bruyne has won that little battle there between those two. But obviously, you've got to look at Mo Salah as well. He is the most expensive player in the game at 12.5 million. But I know why he is. It's because he's been consistent over the past 4 years. He may not be consistent this year. He may have a bad run of form. He may not do well. He may not get loads of goals. But if you go off previous seasons, it looks like he could. So he is owned by 49.7% of the game. A lot more than Kevin De Bruyne and a little bit more than Bruno Fernandes. But it is justifiable because look at the first 2 game weeks. Norwich, Burnley, and then he has a tricky trip to Chelsea. That was a bit of a tongue twister. And then he goes to Leeds and Palace. And obviously Leeds are a very attacking team, so you can get goals against them. And also Palace. Patrick Vieira, the new manager. How are they going to settle in to the Premier League? What's his tactics? What brand of football is he going to play? We don't know. So that's a sticky one there. It is a green fixture for Liverpool, but obviously take that with a pinch of salt because you don't know how good this Palace team could be. They could be really good or they could be really rubbish. But yeah, over those 3, obviously, De Bruyne is the lowest owned and does look the better option there. Bruno Fernandes looks like the worst one. Yes, his fixtures, I guess, right, reasons I could justify for the high ownership for Fernandes is because they have Southampton and Leeds in the first 2 game weeks, whereas Man City in the first 2 game weeks have Tottenham and Norwich. So yes, they are very similar, but I think Man United's is slightly easier, so that probably is the reason why Fernandes is a lot higher owned. But at the same time, after that, Man City's next 3 are a lot better than Man United. So De Bruyne wins the ownership battle and beats Fernandes and Salah. So now we're going to talk about form. This is a bit of a sticky one because obviously, yes, Fernandes and De Bruyne have played in the Euros, but they haven't been consistently playing enough to really give a fair judgment on either of their performances. But what I'm going to say is, the back end of last season, Salah did do well. He did score quite a few goals in Liverpool's run-in to get top 4. And Bruno Fernandes, near the end of last season, he sort of tailed off a little bit. I remember him having a few blank game weeks here, a few blank game weeks there, and it wasn't like at the start of the season and in the middle where he was at it pretty much every week. And then Kevin De Bruyne, I can't remember too much on his form, but I think he did alright. And obviously Man City sort of won the league with several game weeks to go, so he was sort of rotating and resting himself for the Champions League. And obviously, if you look at the Euros, De Bruyne did quite well. He was injured for part of the Euros, but when he played, he was pretty good for 90% of his games. But Bruno Fernandes, that's the disappointment. He was pretty rubbish throughout the Euros. I don't think he scored, and I don't know if he registered. Yeah, I think he registered 1 or 2 assists and didn't score. And a player of the calibre of Bruno Fernandes, you expect him to do better in the Euros. And yeah, Portugal had a disappointing Euros, and so did Bruno Fernandes. And then Mo Salah, yeah, he didn't play in the Euros, and he didn't really play anywhere. And Liverpool have pulled him out of the World Cup. Well, not the World Cup, out of the Olympics for Egypt. So he's not going there, but we can judge Mo Salah off pre-season. So even if you're not a Liverpool fan, keep an eye on Salah, see how he's doing in pre-season. Same with De Bruyne, same with Fernandes. And obviously, you can take a better judgment on their form going into the Premier League season. So now let's talk about the teams and the players they have around them and how that can impact them when it comes to getting points, etc, etc, etc. So, if we look at Liverpool, Liverpool's original front 3, Salah, Firmino, Mane, and obviously Diogo Jota as well. He was rotated a lot last season with the Liverpool front three. And if you look at their front three, well, our front three, because I'm a Liverpool fan, last season, Salah was the one who probably played the most. He very rarely got dropped. It could have been down to Mane and Firmino's bad performances because they weren't at their best last season, and Salah was really, really good. He was scoring goals, and he was a big, big player for Liverpool last season. I think he got player of the season as well for us. So yeah, that's probably why he played a lot more, well, it felt like he started a lot more than Firmino and Mane, and Jota obviously rotated with Firmino and Mane. So yeah, it looks good there for Salah, and if he continues his good form in pre-season, he should start pretty much every game for Liverpool. Not everyone, because he's going to get rested at some point, but pretty much everyone. And if he continues his good form, obviously that will justify him starting everyone as well. And also, with Van Dijk coming back into the Liverpool team, you expect him to do a lot better next season, and you expect all the other attackers to support Salah. And you think about last season, Salah got what? About 25, 26, 27, 28 goals in all competitions for Liverpool. And Mane and Firmino were having one of their worst seasons for Liverpool. Jota was out for an extended period, and the whole team was disjointed. Think about if Jota's back and playing regularly, if Mane and Firmino are in form, if the whole team's gelling better, it could be very good for Mo Salah and Liverpool. And now we look at Kevin De Bruyne. So Kevin De Bruyne with Man City, yes, Pep Guardiola does like to rotate his squad heavily. Pep Roulette, as all the FPL managers call it, because you think he's going to play someone, but he doesn't. But sorry guys, my camera cut out once again. It seems to do that now and then. But what I was saying is, with Man City and Pep Guardiola, Pep Roulette, a lot of the FPL managers know about it, a lot of you players probably know about it. You think he's going to start certain players, but he doesn't. He chooses not to start them, and then you think, oh, why? I thought he was going to start. He hasn't started the last few, so it's hard to choose players in Man City because Pep rotates his squad all the time. But De Bruyne, Diaz, Ederson, those three in particular, maybe you could throw in a few more, but those three in particular pretty much start every game that Man City need points in. And obviously, they open in 5 game weeks of the season, and so on and so forth. They need the points. They want to start the season off well. So yeah, I'm pretty sure those three, if they're fit, and obviously playing well, they're going to start the opening few game weeks of the season. And obviously, De Bruyne is one of those players. And then with Kevin De Bruyne, you know the quality of Man City. Yes, they did lose the Champions League final, but they did win the Premier League, and they pretty much won it for a long time. We knew from around January, February, March time that they were going to win the Premier League. So yeah, they could go back into the season again and start strong. And obviously, I don't think they've recruited any players. I'm not too sure, but their team is very, very good. And obviously, with Aguero leaving, they might sign a top-class talent up top if they've got the funds. Maybe a Harry Kane, maybe a Jack Grealish. So it all looks good there for De Bruyne and Man City. And now Man United. So Bruno Fernandes, same with him, with Salah, pretty much starts every game because he is pretty much their most important attacker, like Salah is for Liverpool and like De Bruyne is for Man City. So yeah, I don't expect Bruno Fernandes to get dropped at all, and obviously he's on penalties as well as Salah, so yeah. And then with Bruno Fernandes and Man United, like I said, the arrival of Sancho. Big there. They've got Greenwood, Sancho, Cavani, Rashford to support Bruno Fernandes. So a lot of key players that can benefit him when scoring goals. But overall there, out of the battle of the teams, I would probably say Salah or De Bruyne, only because they are probably the 2 best teams out of those 3 when they're at their best. So yeah, take what you can from that. Obviously, Liverpool, City and United could make some transfers in this window. Obviously, Man United have brought in Sancho. That could benefit Bruno Fernandes. Man City and Liverpool, I don't think they've brought in anyone yet. But yeah, anyway, reevaluate the situation over the next month, and you could always have 2 of them, like I have Salah and De Bruyne. So you don't have to have 1, and you could even have 3 if you wanted to. But 1 or 2 is probably the best bet because you want to strengthen your team elsewhere. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one.